Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your co-founder and co-host to the Creative Birth Strategies podcast and house here on Clubhouse, providing education, networking, and strategy every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. We'll be discussing mastering the art of rental property strategies. I look forward to speaking about this and diving into it. I just put an article together on it as well. So I'm going to invite some peeps in to get rocking and rolling with this discussion. But of course, I always like to thank our sponsors who have been supporting us for so long in this now 2 year venture, 135 episodes. I mean, we're really pounding it out. We'll give you an update of the week, the market, which has been unbelievable for investors this week. But I'm just going to invite some people in to get started here. But first, I want to thank Lendmark Capital, where I'm a direct private lender nationwide for real estate investors in the asset-based lending space. I'd like to thank MB Capital Solutions, where I'm a referral partner, providing unsecured business lines of credit for real estate investors and professionals throughout the country. I want to thank also Real Estate Mastermind Strategies, where we are now in some unbelievable locations. We'll go over that in just a quick second. And then I want to thank Mr. Yordell Perkins of Perkatech, who provides social media, our podcast, our video work, our graphic work, all of it. He provides it for not just myself, but real estate professionals throughout the country, and also provides the white label marketing package for potential real estate mortgage brokers working with me at Lendmark. But a really exciting discussion, these discussions this past week, and what a October coming up. So we'll go over this real quick. We had a white label marketing course yesterday about asset-based lending fundamentals. We trained 12 new mortgage brokers. Very excited. We put it on. We did a hybrid video to it, so it really went well. We're going to throw that into AI video and get that post edited and get it back out onto our website. And our website's at creativebirdstrategies.com or josephvscarice.com. All of our events are scheduled for the entire year going into 26. All the events. There's an event link on both Joseph V. Scarice and creativebirdstrategies.com. We are now in the month of October. This week we have Newark, New Jersey, and we have Lancaster, PA, and then I'm also hosting a small happy hour in Maryland following the Lancaster event on Saturday. So some three big events meeting with a bunch of real estate professionals. But October is stocked and stacked with some great events. We're in Delaware. We're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're in Norwalk, Connecticut. We're in Union, New Jersey. We're in Philadelphia twice the following week. We're in Lehigh Valley. We're in Laurel, Maryland. We're back in Elizabeth, New Jersey. We're in Lancaster. We're spreading out the wealth in different areas. Quite excited. And we're scheduling some big get-togethers in December right now with the Pace Morby group, where there'll be several hundred people in Maryland, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and what's one other thing? Can't think of the other one, but New York and one other one I can't think of the top of my head. But very excited about that. We're going to be bringing back Linda Pelagas from Realty 411. She'll be supporting that as a viable sponsor to all that. And then obviously we saw the Fed made some serious moves this week, but did it make any impact? We already saw this impact. Our now coupon rate for commercial lending for real estate investors has dropped to 5.5%. I'm giving loans away in the 6 range right now, 6-ish. Okay. It's an amazing time right now for investors in Q4. It's only going to get more amazing. I think every time that Fed Chair Powell says something the week or thinks about saying something the week before, we drop about a half a point to a point. We went from 6.375 to 5.5. And the market for the consumer leveled off at around 6.35. So we are ahead by a full 3/4 of a point in an advantage in a fall market where home buying is very low and slow. This is a complete 100% investor driven market going to the rest of the year. You could see it at these events. People are so engaged. I think I submitted close to 15 loans just on Friday alone. And our bridge money right now is 8.99. And right now, we're not even we're not even worrying about seasoning. If you do our bridge loan with us and you want to refinance with us, there's no seasoning. So, I mean, they're really taking the gloves off to attract the investor to keep moving on deals. But very interesting with the announcement with the Fed really kind of didn't do much, did some for the consumer, but did a lot for the investor. Some articles that things we got to keep an eye out is the surge in jobless claims is spiking. Layoffs are still out there, slowing down a little bit. Uh, I mean, the Fed cuts into projects more easing to come. I think we're going to have a medium to or so landing with real estate holdings. I think your flipping is erode the profits are eroding. So most of my our flippers out there are definitely looking at holding either at least a year or two to wait the market or wait maybe the next spring market. Maybe get past the capital gains hit the initial year. You're not seeing as much flipping. You're seeing a lot more focusing on the market rent covering the deal if you don't flip the property. And then I feel like uh, we're on the path back to some normal housing costs, but I really feel like we have to see a reset on values by at least 10 to 15% before I feel like there's going to be some form of normalcy. And that kind of ties into our discussion today, mastering the art of rental property strategies. Owning rental properties isn't just about collecting rent. It's about building a long-term strategy that balances cash flow, appreciation, and risk management. To succeed, investors must master both the fundamentals and advanced tactics that turn properties into wealth building assets. We're going to just discuss quickly, and we'll get to our moderators, the core pillars of rental property success: market selection and acquisition, obviously identifying good, stable markets, balancing appreciation potential with rental demand, and understanding zoning, rental ordinances, and regulatory trends. And number two is financing and capital structures. Do you really understand traditional versus private asset based lending, DSCR, blanket loans, BRRRR strategies? Our big class is coming up November 15th, which is a full day workshop, 9 to 5, November 15th. I'm only allowing 35 people in the class, and I think we already have like 10 people signed up. So that will dive into so you could be better ready for the creative financing opportunities that are ahead of us. Obviously, there's also seller financing to look at, sub two, partnerships, syndications, tenant and lease strategy, screening for reliability and stability. You got to really have a good property manager and a good venting system. Your tenant is your backbone to your investment property. Structuring leases either for short-term, mid-term, or long-term rentals, adding value through rent escalations and utilities and amenities. And then number four, property management and operations, in-house versus third-party property management. Are you maybe thinking property maintenance and you still handle collection of the rents? Might not be a bad idea. Leveraging tech, for rent collection, maintenance, and communication is probably going to alleviate some of that for the self-managing landlord and reducing, vacancies and turnover costs. And then you got to really look at tax and wealth building strategies, maximizing write-offs, depreciation, cost seg, 1031 exchanges. Cost seg, I mean, after any refinance, you should be doing a cost seg on your property. And then holding entities, LLCs, series LLCs, trust for protection and tax efficiency, scaling from one property to a portfolio with sustainable systems. Some advanced strategies you might want to look at beyond just 2025: midterm rentals, co-living and build to rent BTR. We will be, I'm almost sure we are going to be interviewing an executive from Pad Split next Sunday. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want to thank Linda Pelagas for that introduction. That's going to hopefully come together. Creative finance and BRRRR hybrid models. And then you got to look at the market cycle time, right? Positioning acquisitions and exits around interest rates and inventory shifts and market timelines. So some action steps for investors you need to look at right now. Evaluate your current portfolio. Where's the hidden equity? Identify one market trend that can leverage you into the next 6 to 12 months. Building your power team, lenders, property managers, contractors, attorneys, and creating a system for a consistent deal flow and tenant management. These are some thoughts just starting off in mastering the art of rental property strategies. I think we all are trying to identify one or the other, but I think they're all major and important pillars to your success. Now, if you're a real estate professional and you're not investing currently, you need to look at this as a real estate professional. How can I help or assist that investor to scale? And I also benefit from some of the commissions on identifying those opportunities for them, whether off market or on market. You need to be more detailed. You need to be more proficient. Out of the 12 students we had yesterday at the white label course, 4 of the individuals were licensed real estate agents. They're getting it. They realize that they need to be a better investor friendly realtor going into 26. I mean, just because the Fed announced a quarter point rate doesn't mean everything's going to reset in favor of the home buyers. We're still in an investor buying market. Non-QM is in double digits of the overall mortgage industry. It's not getting lower anyway, anytime soon. Amy, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to mastering the art of rental property investments. Amy? Amy? Can everybody hear her? I'm gonna come back and in. Yep. Let's see what's going on here. There you go. What happened here? So a little can't get back into my own room. So let's see what's going on here. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 quick second. We'll get ourselves back in here. No, that's weird. So give us a few minutes. We're going to get ourselves back into this room. Let's see. Why will it not let me back in? So what we're going to do in the meanwhile, I'm gonna turn the thing off and get back on here in just a quick minute. So just give me guys a second here, real quick. We will turn this off, give it a breather. And I'm sorry about this interim, but we really got into a really good subject point here. And I can't wait to get back into the podcast itself. I don't know what happened. Let's give it a minute. And we'll get started here. But I hope everybody's sticking in here with us for the next couple minutes. We'll get back in here in just a quick second. Sorry about the technical difficulty, but never anything is that perfect. So we'll just have to get rocking and rolling in just a quick second. It's rebooting as we speak. But I really think the mastering of rental property strategies are so important right now because the growth and opportunities are there to scale. And we'll get rocking in here in 1 second. 1 second. Hopefully we'll get back on in just a quick minute. We might have to cancel out this podcast, but we'll see. Wait 1 second here. We'll see if we're back online. If not, we might have to cancel out the podcast. So let's see where we're at right now. There we go.
Side than you would the property management side. So you do really need to understand the differences there. So I would say as you're growing and scaling, that would be one of the things. And then understanding what type of assets I'm going to invest in. And do I blend? Do I diversify or do I specialize? I would say initially you're going to specialize, but then as you grow and scale, you might want to diversify and look at other assets. And so but as you're not going to want to do that initially. So you're going to want to do that likely as you have like 5 or 6 assets under control. So that would be my first half a nickel, Joe. And I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, Joe?
I can hear you now. I don't know what's going on with Clubhouse, but every once in a while I have this technical glitch that I have to literally shut it all down and restart it for some reason.
Okay, it was just Clubhouse didn't want you to hear me.
No, it's
Me too. I was just like, I can't hear her.
I don't even know what the heck is going on, but you know what? I listen. Nothing's perfect, as we know, but I appreciate you carrying the torch there. Do you have a gig after this with us on the Creative Burrow Strategies?
Yes, yeah, we're talking about using AI avatars and agents, and so agentic AI and what you can do. So I was just at a conference. It's called Blueprint Vegas, and it's a real estate technology conference. And I was amazed by the people I met there. But a lot of the tech startups there we're using AI in really cool ways. Past to chatbot, it was really more conversational AI for different scenarios like tenants, for even on webinars. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do around using an AI avatar or AI agent in real estate and real estate investing. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next Real Estate Rewired, which follows this room.
Very cool. Yeah, Yordell and I are now going to take our podcast, the video we did yesterday, the hybrid, and we're going to dump it into an AI video, like a Chat GPT thing, and edit it and see what it looks like differently. So I'm pretty excited about that. We're in this. We're gonna AI video all my ongoing discussions on white label marketing to scrub them, edit them, and see what they look like on the back end. So hopefully I'll be much prettier, on those in the AI.
Less wrinkles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thankfully, when you get to meet me, I don't have wrinkles, which is kind of funny. So, yeah, it's Mediterranean blood. I don't have wrinkles on my face at all, so it's kind of funny. But I get it, But you know what? I make a big suggestion, Amy. Liquid NAD. Liquid NAD. Liquid NAD will help all that. Believe me. Yeah. Yep. I take it every day. Yeah, their skin, everything. It's great. Just take a little teaspoon of it a day. You'll see a difference very quickly.
This is a great dude. If Linda can't get you, I've met Atticus several years ago. He's the founder of Pad Split.
Yeah.
Really cool. I met him probably it was 2021. I was in multifamily. The multifamily executive has a ski conference in Vail every year. It's just super awesome. If you're a multifamily owner operator, that's a really cool conference to go to. And I met Atticus there, and he had just founded Padsel, but I think they had, well, not just founded, but they had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 employees. Like he was just getting started, but it was a really cool concept, and it's really cool to see him kind of hang in there and grow and scale his company. So he's a really good
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, listen, I look at it this way. I'm not saying that I'm accepting of Pad Split because to me it's still just a boarding house, but I have to recognize it because it's now nationally recognized. You know what I mean? It's here. It's not going away. It's like Uber. Uber's not going away. Lyft not going away. Like those kind of things.
Yeah, I think he was originally trying to solve the affordable housing crisis in a unique way by just using existing structures and allowing people to rent out their rooms and giving them kind of like, yeah, for sure. It's kind of similar. Just use your house and make as much money off your house as you possibly can without paying kind of Airbnb fees.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm hopefully I'll get all the things I need for him to do the interview next week, but we'll see. But are you going to be in Dallas on the 29th and 30th of October of September?
It could be.
Okay. I might be.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Oh, it is okay. No. I'm going to Force 10 potentially, which is the Bank REO convention. I'm still thinking about whether I want to go or not. It's the end of the month. Yeah, I mean, if I'll let you know, I'll text you otherwise, if that comes together. So maybe we can finally meet in person. So, well, thank you, Amy, as always. So, what will separate great real estate investors from the rest in 2026? The market is shifting fast. Interest rates, regulatory changes, new capital sources, tech driven deal flow are rewriting the rules for the real estate investors. By 2026, the difference between good and the great won't be about luck. It's going to be, or even access to deals. It will come down to mindset, systems, and strategy. Precision deal selection. Great investors won't chase volume, they'll pursue precision. Creative capital mastery beyond bank financing, DSCR private lending, JV partnerships. You're going to need to understand creative structures. Adapting rental models. Short term rentals face regulation pressure, while midterm rentals and build to rent will expand. Multifamily and mixed use investors who adapt their leases, corporate housing, co living, Section 8 resets will lead. Great investors will know when to pivot property use to maximize yield. Tech enhanced operations, leveraging AI for lead generation, deal analysis, and tenant management, automated follow ups, predictive analytics, and digital marketing funnels that will create scale and speed. The winners will integrate tech without losing the human relationship edge. Power teams and community leverage. Lone wolves will fade. Great investors will surround themselves with lenders, brokers, attorneys, property manager, and other investors. Networking won't just be social, it will be a capital deal and credibility multiplier. The ability to collaborate will outpace the ability to compete. Bottom line, by 2026, great investors will be operators, strategists, and connectors. They won't just own properties, they'll own systems. They won't just chase trends, they'll anticipate cycles. And most importantly, they're building sustainable portfolios that thrive in any market condition. Felix, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the master of art of rental and property investments. And great seeing you Thursday night. We crushed it at that Maryland event.
Yes, it was. It was a blast. I've actually still been texting people, just saying hello, and it was a pleasure meeting them, and looking forward to helping them and assisting them with their real estate.
So where are you landed now? Are you in Texas right now?
Providing for you, senior. Yeah, I'm still in Houston.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you fine.
Yeah, I'm still in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. Felix Cannon Senior Enterprises, the Jiglix Group, team leader of Keller Williams Legacy Team. When it comes to rental investments, rental property investments, the first thing is making sure that you have the proper team, your contractors, if you're going to use a property manager, the people that are going to clean your property, identifying what type of investment that you're doing, whether it's going to be single family home, multi-units, what is it going to be Airbnb? Is it going to be traveling nurses? Are you dealing with voucher holders? Is it going to be market tenants? What type of screening are you doing for all of these tenants? If you have a property management company, what type of screening are they using to make sure that you're getting the best quality tenant in which that you can? I know for me personally, I've done property management since 2006. I use a system that will let you know, hey, take this tenant, don't take this tenant. However, for me, it's also about the personality. I'll tell you now, I've had one of my best tenants, top two still. He had a 435 credit score. He had 13 charges. When he left the property, and he ended up having a dog. When he left the property, all we had to do was wipe down the countertop. That was it. Even though the owner at the time was like, he had to get rid of the dog. He had it for 6 months. You couldn't even tell that there was a dog in there. So I tell a lot of people that even though you're using these companies, use them with the caution that they're not going to eliminate you having a good tenant based off the fact that oh, the system said deny them because their credit was this, or they had these charges, or they had this. Because I know all of the whether if you had these charges, you ask people questions. People like to judge based off of what the black and white say, and I was one of those people that was judged because I had charges on my record young, and I still lived in those communities, and I was a great tenant, had no issues, paid my rent on time, and left their place in order. So because of that happening to me, that was the biggest reason as to why I became a property manager at that time, because I was being judged. So I tell people that again, just know what type of investment it is that you are getting into. Know what your exit strategy is. Don't just get the property and be like, oh, well, I just seen that in this neighborhood, or I've seen someone else, they were doing wonderful in that neighborhood, and now you missed an opportunity, or you now get the bad tenants, or you get into a bad neighborhood just because you watched someone else tell a story that might not have been true. Dig into the neighborhoods. Make sure that you have the right real estate agent. If not the right real estate agent, make sure that you are having the right mentor that's going to guide you properly within that rental strategy atmosphere. Um, Go walk the neighborhoods, talk to the people in the neighborhoods and see, hey, has anybody rented in this neighborhood before? Are there other landlords? Look at how they treat their tenants. Look at how they treat their properties. You know, do your research. To me, that's like the biggest part of when it comes to investment in general. However, also just investing in rental properties. That's my wisdom and knowledge for today.
Felix, I want to thank you again for collaborating with me on that event we're going to be moving forward with. And I really saw some excitement in that room. When people were giving their 30-second elevator pitches and getting themselves out in front of the people, the networking that followed those 30-second elevator pitches was intense.
Awesome.
Wasn't it? I mean, like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was about 35 strong in the room. And we worked the room. We had a great time. Got to see somebody I hadn't seen in almost, I don't know, 17, 18 years, which was great. It was that was really funny. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a lot of fun. Even these, like, a lot of these people are saying they were new. They owned a couple properties already. That's what's really amazing. Like a couple of the young ladies that were there that were saying, "Yeah, I'm a new investor," but they own 2 or 3 properties. They're very, very modest room that we were in that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that like look at the difference from being in that Baltimore area versus being in that Laurel area. It was a huge difference. The energy, the people that everybody in there had really some level of real estate experience, even if they were new, as you just said. The 2 young ladies that was like, well, I got 2 properties. I just got them, and like you're like, okay, well, what are you doing with them? Not really sure. However, I got 2 properties, and and gain whatever assistance. In fact, like some level of real estate experience was even more exciting. And then, like you said, the energy after that, everybody interacting, wanting to connect with one another. I'm looking forward to next month and just consistently interacting with them. And to me, the biggest part is that how many of them were looking to come to Baltimore. It was like 7 of them that were like, oh, I'm looking to invest in Baltimore, which was like, oh, I'm like, that's even more awesome. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for partnering with me. I greatly appreciate everything you offer and look forward to, building and growing more.
Absolutely. And the write up for the October was sent to you this morning by ChatGPT. So you got an email this morning. So to keep a look out to market it. Okay. So Felix, thank you very much. You're coming in and out. I appreciate that. But let's keep moving on this. Let's tie this in to the tenant, right? We always talk about the investors, but we really don't talk about the tenant. What does the tenant look like for a real estate investor or landlord in 2026, right? Because the tenant profile is evolving. Hang on one second here.
I said yes, thank you.
No,
well, just because I heard you say that was going out.
So yeah. I
want to say like yes, thank you.
No problem, Felix. Thank you. So because the tenant problem is evolving just as fast as the market itself, by 2026, successful landlords and investors will need to understand who their tenant really is, what they value, and how to structure leases and properties around those realities. I'm going to break down a couple items so we can lead into our next moderator. The tenant of 2026, what investors and landlords need to know. Number one is more renters by choice. Higher interest rates, tighter lending standards, and lifestyle flexibility means more households will choose renting over owning. Though these tenants will expect quality housing with amenities, smart home tech, flexible spaces, energy efficient utilities. And then you have the workforce and professional tenants, the midterm tenants, 3 to 12 months, such as traveling nurses, remote contractors, corporate relocation professionals will be a growing segment. Landlords who offer furnished and flexible leases will capture this market. Mobility and driven remote workers. Tenants will demand proximity to co-working hubs, transit, vibrant communities rather than just square footage. Expect demand for Wi-Fi reliability, home office space, and hybrid-friendly amenities. Quiet rooms, package lockers, EV charging. Budget conscious yet value focused. Within inflation, rising rents, affordability pressures remain. Expect more roommates, multi generational households, and co living arrangements. Government backed rental support like Section 8 resets will expand the pool of voucher based tenants. And then some lifestyle and experience driven. Tenants are looking beyond a roof over their head. They want walkability to shops and restaurants. They want sustainability. They want to know that it's energy efficient appliances, community features like shared gyms, outdoor spaces, pet friendly policies. Tech first renters. By 2026, tenants expect digital everything. Online applications, screening, automated rent payment portals, maintenance request apps. The investor landlord who streamlines this process will attract better tenants and reduce their turnover. And my takeaway for this is the 2026 isn't just tenant is not just a renter. They're more mobile, more demanding, more selective, willing to pay for flexibility, convenience, and community. Balancing affordability and lifestyle priorities. Landlords who adapt with midterm rentals, flexible leases, tech-enabled management, and tenant section amenities will outperform those stuck in the old landlord model. Stephen, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your patience and your thoughts to master the art of rental property investments.
Hey, Joe, thanks. Yeah, I think I'm Steve Franco, REIHomepage.com. I'm an investor and a broker. I'm going to start with Joe's white label lending as well. We'll be coming to that November 15th event. Basically, where I think the investor needs to focus is, first of all, it's always the numbers. Wherever you are, if you're in Scranton, Pennsylvania with, medium to low income people substantially, the numbers are different than if you're in a high-rise Philadelphia situation or whatever, but it's always about the numbers. And I think it's also about the tenant experience. First of all, getting your tenants comfortable with the technology. That was a big transition for us a couple of years ago. Getting them to use the portal, get into this, that. And eventually they learned the freedom and capability of it and how it helps them. But as we do get into more co-living spaces, looking at possibly doing a couple, we have to be careful to remember the tenant experience cannot be that of a tenement house. The tenant experience has to be that of a positive co-living experience. Again, whatever price point they're at. And the more you give the tenant the experience of this as their own home, the more you give the tenant the experience of I'm being well served for what money I'm paying. That is, I think, the key to having the long-term tenant, having the good tenant, having the tenant that leaves the place on time or on time in nice condition. Or maybe never leaves the place, but they leave it in nice condition when they do. And the last point is that you work with the tenants to get them on your program as soon as possible, meaning when they're not keeping the yard clean, when they're not doing whatever they need to do. We have dog issues are big in some of our apartments. you get with them very quickly. You don't let it slide, because the longer you slide, the more it seems acceptable. But really, it comes down to giving the tenants value for their money, because as there is more affordable housing need, there is more of this. They may be paying less or less because they're sharing, and making sure that they feel valued, but also making sure that they understand the transaction is, we're going to give you a good place at a good value, and you're going to keep it clean, keep your rent on time, so on and so forth. The last note for us is understanding who it is you're renting for. As I think Felix said, sometimes challenged tenants can be the best because they know they're getting an extra chance. They know something special is happening. So it can't just be, oh, they must have credit score, they must have this, they must have that. It has to be a bit of a mix. The one I'm not typically going to give up on, though, is 3 times the rent. If they're not, as a household, taking home 3 times the rent, I'm probably not going to be giving them much. And the last thing is always team, having a good team, good lender, good everything else like that. That's what I got today. I couldn't tell if my phone cut out, so I'm not sure if I'm even still connected, but I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Steve, great content, great insight. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I mean, real quick on the ultimate white label workshop coming up November 15th. We're gonna have the individuals that are registered will be invited to a private happy hour on Friday night. And then on Sunday, if they decide to stay for the weekend, we will have one-on-ones post the podcast from 10:30 to 2:30 at the same office. So if you're planning on coming in for the weekend, we will have a happy hour that Friday night at a to be announced location, and then Saturday all day, 9 to 5, we're going to go deep into the whole rigmarole of lending, and then Sunday we will have one-on-ones scheduled from 10:30 to 2:30 or 3 o'clock if need be, with everyone that wants to have a one-on-one as a follow-up before they roll out for the weekend. If anybody needs hotel accommodations, obviously, please call me or private message me on my cell or my email, and I can obviously get you all the content information you need for that. And Steve touched on something that caught my eye and ear on this. And, for the real estate investor, it's all in the numbers. He's right. At the end of the day, real estate isn't emotional, it's mathematical. The investors who succeed in any market are the ones who know how to underwrite, analyze, and protect their numbers. Number one is the acquisition numbers: purchase price versus ARV after repair value, accurate rehab budgets with contingencies, understanding how every dollar in rehab should add to $2 to $3 in value. Number two is financing and holding costs. What's the debt service coverage ratios? What interest rate are you using to analyze your deal and underwrite your deal? And leveraging limits. Does it really make sense to max out LTV, or does it make sense to lower the LTV because it's a cash flow play long term? Knowing the impact of LTV on risk and return. Factoring taxes, insurance, utilities, property management, and reserves. Number three is income and cash flow. Rent comps by unit type and lease structure, long, midterm, or short term. Vacancy assumptions, 5 to 10% baked in, depending on the market. Net operating income, NOI, on cash return thresholds. So what your DSCR is 1.2. Are you making $500 a door, $300 a door? Does that make sense for you, long term or short term? Risk and sensitivity analysis. Stress testing deals against rising rates or rent drops. Having multiple exit strategies: refi, flip, hold, or wholesale. Running worst case scenarios and still making the deal work. But scaling, number five, is scaling by the numbers, knowing when to refinance versus sell, tracking portfolio metrics: IRR, equity multiple, blended DSCR, reinvesting profits strategically to compound wealth. I mean, the takeaway from what Steve was saying is real estate investors who master the math win in any market. Those who guess, hope, or over leverage get wiped out when cycles turn. 26 and beyond, it won't be about how many deals you do. It will be about how well you know your numbers. I'm going to come back to Amy. Your thoughts on some of the discussions we've had this morning, mastering the art of rental property investments.
Sure. I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, as you scale and grow, or even if you do first investment, you got to make sure that you understand your numbers. I was going to say there's a really good book by Michael Landrip. I don't know if you know the book, but basically it outlines like the 50 real estate investment calculations and explains what they are. So for new investors, that's a really good book to kind of use. And so when we're talking up here, like DSCR, IRR, ARV, all these other different things, all these acronyms, the alphabet soup, it'll basically, it's your dictionary to the alphabet soup. So I offer that out for the beginners. But as you scale and grow, the difference maker now is not going to be, yes, it's going to be team, but you're going to need an AI enabled team now. So yes, you need maintenance guys, and you're going to need, lenders and insurance agents and all the above, and people scouring for you. But you're gonna find the ability to be more productive by using technology than ever before. And you're right, tenant preferences are going to lean that there's tech on homes. I would say, especially on the millennial side, they're going to expect it when they walk in. There's a council startup called Rockerbox. So it's RCKRBX. And if you're trying to understand what the tenant preferences are in your market or submarket, they are phenomenal. So especially if you have a lot of investments, or if you're trying to gauge kind of where things are going, they came from, honestly, political polling. That's what he was, the founder of this was known for, and he understands how to do, basically surveys and sentiment surveys and all those great things. And he's applying that knowledge that he became world known for to understanding tenants. So it's a really cool startup. They're just a new council. I'll plug them because they're a council member. But you do have to understand your tenants. You do have to understand technology and where it's going. But it should more than likely, for you as an investor, it should accelerate your growth, because now you're able to, if you buy one property, you're able to provide technology for you that doesn't require as much time to manage or maintain. And also should reduce your insurance costs. So I would say, looking at, looking at that and understanding all of the stuffs around all the technology around not only finding deals, but managing your deals. There's a lot out there. And we like to talk about it on our real estate rewrite room. So, yeah, Joe.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And you have me thinking, we haven't touched on the real estate agent enough here in this discussion this morning.
That's true.
Scaling and growing as a real estate investor / agent in 2026 won't reward those who play small. So with interest rates normalizing, new capital sources opening, and shifting tenant profile, growth will come to investors and agents who combine discipline, creativity, and systems. Mastering the numbers, building multiple income streams, creating power teams, leveraging tech and AI, think portfolio, not properties, anticipating market shifts. And I feel like the formula for the agent in the investor mindset is numbers plus systems plus teams plus techs plus vision. The investor and agents who integrate these will not only grow, they will dominate their market niche. Stephen, some additional thoughts to the mastering of the art of rental property investments. Stephen, going once?
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Yep.
I wanted to throw in that it's important when you're looking at your investments, current and past, and picking your future, is very rarely is something a complete loss or mistake. Joe funded a deal for me a year or so ago that I thought was going to be a long-term rental hold. We get into it for a year. It just turned out not to be us, not to be for us. Tenants weren't liking it. The kind of tenants we were wanting weren't liking it. So we resold it. So on one hand is, oh, gee, that didn't work because thought it was going to be a rental, then it wasn't. However, it still netted a pretty sizable mid-5-figure profit on less than $120,000 actual or $150,000 actual investment. So I guess my thing is, when you're thinking about the numbers, it's not, gee, I planned it for this and it didn't work out of this, it's a failure. But I planned it for this and it still worked. And by the way, 1031 exchanges are quite affordable, and you should always do them, or at least always consider them. And also things like cost segregation. How else can you handle your depreciation? And your team has to include an investor-friendly agent. Do not do what I did on my first few purchases and just pick the first random agent that shows up. Make sure they know investment, preferably are an investor. That's it. Thank you.
Steve, thanks for that additional insight. I'm going to add some additional framework to positioning past, present, and future mindset as a real estate investor / agent. I want to focus a little bit on the agent piece right now. You got to think beyond the next deal. You have to have a success in real estate not just about deals. It's about the mindset you bring into each cycle. The way you think about the past, act in the present, and present it for the future will define your trajectory. Okay, your past mindset, lessons, and foundation. Right, learn from past mistakes, but don't get stuck in old models. Present mindset, execution, and adaptability, running numbers with precision, shifting from transactional to relational, aligning with investors and repeating clients, leveraging tech, social proof, and personal brand to stand out in the crowded market. Operate with clarity, efficiency, and partnerships. Your future mindset, scaling and vision. Investors thinking portfolio, not property, using creative finance, midterm rentals, and portfolio loans to build sustainable income. Agents, moving beyond the salesperson title into advisor, connector, wealth builder. Embracing AI, digital funnels, and hybrid events to capture new lead channels. The key, build systems and relationships today that compound into tomorrow's wealth. My takeaway on this, some thoughts from Steve. Past equals foundation, learn skills, lessons, scars. Present equals action, deals, execution, and precision. Future, vision, scaling, wealth, legacy. The investor and agents who align these three mindsets will not just survive cycles, they'll own them. Felix, some additional thoughts to mastering the art of rental property investments.
I kind of just piggyback what Stephen has said. Again, going back to the numbers, if you pay too much money for the investment, then now you're scrambling and figuring out ways to recoup your money. That is a big key one, a big insight. Other than that, like I said, the big thing is making sure that your team is properly in place. Make sure that, as he said, if you're dealing with realtors, make sure that they understand investments, not that they just looking to get a check because of what the commission is going to be. Because what you'll learn, and even though I'm a former realtor, I was in investments first. A lot of realtors truly don't understand investments, and because of that, they will steer you in a direction that you're thinking that because they're the professional, they know exactly where they're putting you at, and they're not. And just kind of sticking with what I said about the tenants. Don't judge people, just because their credit isn't there or they have different challenges. I've found in 99% of the time that all of the people in which that I dealt with that needed second chances, none of them failed. Yes, I'll do, hey, you got to do a double security deposit depending on what your credit looks like. However, not one of them failed at, doing what was necessary nor tearing up my properties. I've had, and the myths about voucher holders. If you screen that tenant properly, I've had one issue with the voucher holder in my 20 plus years of being in real estate, and she never even made it into the property. She showed, that she wasn't worthy before getting in there, and she never made it. There are a lot of the voucher holder clients that I've had that about 4 to 6 of them, I've helped them purchase properties. I also would say that keep in mind that having properties doing rent to own, seller financing, owner financing, and that rental space is also good because once you train that tenant in, doing and handling their monthly expenses with your property properly, they end up being really good people potential to buy properties. So that's my wisdom and knowledge. And again, thank you for the invite on Thursday and everything else that you provided and helped with.
No problem, Felix. Anytime. And guys, gals, listen, this is about building team building going into 26. If you need to start being a host or hostess of an event or a meeting, let's collaborate. we have the capability of doing that through my database, my CRM. I'll buy additional data if need be to help assist you in growing your group out. Collaboration with video and podcasting. We're now hosting podcast interviews every second Saturday of the month when I host an event in Philadelphia at the Rooftop Deck. So we're excited about that. We're going to AI video all that and filter all that content to make it clear and clean for everyone to listen in and get excited about. But team building is going to be everything, the differentiation in 2026. The lone wolf model is fading, and scale comes from collaboration. I think the investors and agents who thrive in 2026 won't be the ones working harder alone. They'll be the ones who build power teams and multiply time, capital, and opportunity. Your number one is core investment agency team, like your lender capital partner. Is it going to really be your in-house? Do they really understand the needs of your client right now? Do you need to build your own team? Who's your contractor? Who's your maintenance individual? Who's your rehabber? Right? You need people to go to, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, sheetrockers, flooring people, tub glazers, roofers, landscapers. You got to be the go-to. You got to source also working for the right investor-friendly broker if you're going to be an agent investor. And then there's the advisory and protection team. Who's your go-to attorneys, structuring deals and contracts and creative finance safely? Who's your CPA? Who's your bookkeeper? Who's your insurance broker or brokers? Who's your entity asset protection specialist, setting up LLCs and trust and compliance? Growth and leverage team, marketing and branding partner. And who's building credibility and deal flow through visibility? Who's your AI tech system support? Your CRM automation, your lead funnels, data analysis. Who's your equity partners? Who's your debt partners? Community networking groups. How many have you held with masterminds or investor associations and referral ecosystems? That mindset shift for 2026 from solo to collaborative, from transactional relational, from hustle to systems. The best investors and agents won't just ask, how many deals can I close? They'll ask, who do I need on my team to multiply my results? Amy, some additional thoughts to the Master of Arts of Rental and Property Investments.
Yeah, I will say when you were going through the list of important folks on your team, I would add your smart home technology folks. One differentiator between an investment is managed Wi-Fi. A lot, even if it's multifamily or even single family, by you installing Wi-Fi on your properties that you own, this enables you to have so much smart home tech on there that it can reduce your insurance costs and prevent major claims and damages to your property. But if you let the tenant get it, the ability of you to go ahead and install all the leak detection systems and all the other things that you want to install as an owner of your property becomes a little more tricky. So just go ahead and install it. Charge the tenant for it. Who cares? They don't care. They would much rather walk into a home and be connected on Wi-Fi than have their furniture there. So just go ahead and get it. And when you do this, then you have all this smart home tech on your property that can kind of change the game for you. So I would say that for sure, to add it to the list and understand that this is something that will definitely kind of become more and more commonplace. It boggles the mind to me that on folks that don't have managed Wi-Fi, and there's a predominant amount of properties that don't. So right now, if you went ahead and installed it, you would kind of be definitely have an advantage over others for sure.
Amy, great stuff. I mean, I can't see how I see the big divider of technology with the real estate investor so more important going into 26 than ever before. I think the future of real estate won't belong to those who are just, working hard. It'll belong to those who leverage technology smarter and the integration of AI and automation and digital platforms that'll separate great investors and agents from the rest. Number one is going to be AI-driven deal flow. Your investor AI-powered platforms for underwriting rental comps and stress testing deals. And your agents, you need to be predictive. You got to provide predictive analytics to identify motivated sellers, buyers, and investor clients before competitors. Faster, smarter decisions equal fewer missed opportunities. Any additional thoughts, Amy?
Yeah, I wanted to add, and also, most people don't know this, but if you were looking for white label opportunities as a realtor, I would do this around technology, because 40% of technology decisions are made because the broker suggested it. So somebody's going in to buy a property and the realtor is going, hey, you really should look at this technology. And they're doing it today anyway. And those sales are being made. So go ahead and get referral agreements with this tech, right? Go ahead and make some money because you're making the sale anyway. You're suggesting it to the buyer. That would be my other half an nickel.
Yeah, I have a feeling, and this is just a thought, those who resist tech work harder for small returns. Those who adopt scale portfolios, client bases, and income streams faster. The winners will blend tech plus human connection, not replace one with the other. I mean, I don't think events are going away. They're only going to solidify the relationship by staying connected via AI and tech and social media. So, like when I walk into a room and I meet somebody, they've met me already on some form of social media or another. I mean, remember, this podcast is pushed out with my AI team to 300 Facebook groups every Sunday morning, all over the country. It's also pushed out through YouTube, and then it pushes out to all the other social media buckets. We've just done a full analysis, underwrite on all the other relative networking events and groups in our region, and did an underwrite to what Google words they're using, and we're taking those and we're plugging them into our own websites of creativeburststrategies.com as well as josephvscarice.com. We're also enhancing the white label marketing of lending for brokers and correspondents working with me. And we're by the time November 15th comes, we are going to have so many lending options through the white label funnel that there shouldn't be a deal that falls through if the deal makes sense and the client makes sense. But you'll be able to analyze it in minutes so quickly, because time is going to be extremely precious to work on deals that make a lot of sense, not for the time wasters, not for the dreamers. The art of owning rentals and art of rental property investments is being the better mindseted real estate professional. That's going to separate you from everyone else, whether you're an agent, whether you're a service provider in the real estate space, whether you're a lender, whether you're an investor, whether you're investor agent, whether you're just starting out. All this is going to count. Everything. So I want to thank our moderators today. It's been a great discussion, very deep discussion in regards to just an overall look at the art of rental property investments. We touched on obviously agents, we touched on landlords, we touched on tech, we touched on technology, mindset. I think it's so important. I want to, and the events that we're offering in the Northeast region now in Connecticut and Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Delaware and Maryland, soon to be New York State. I'd love to grow it out as many places as we can. Like anyone listening, when's the next time you're going to have a conversation with either Amy or Felix or Steven? When's the next one-on-one you're going to have with all of us to see how we can help you separate yourself from the rest? I want to thank our sponsors, Lendmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, nationwide asset-based lender, direct private lender for real estate investors throughout the country. I want to thank MB Capital Solutions, where I am a referral partner, sales rep, offering unsecured business lines of credit for real estate investors and professionals, as well as B2B. I want to thank Mr. Ural Perkins of Perkatech, provides all of this video, social media, AI technology that we're pushing out through our websites, through our podcast, celebrating our 135th episode. I want to thank also Real Estate Mastermind Strategies, where we're offering events, collaboration, strategy events with education, networking, and opportunities for real estate professionals and investors throughout the country. My quote this morning, I put some thought to it. I kind of wanted to get the right one in front of us. Think big, believe big, act big, and the results will be big. Everybody have a great Sunday morning. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m. with another great educational piece. Please follow Amy into the next room at Rewired on the Creative Birth Strategy podcast here in house on Clubhouse. Everybody have a great day. Be well, and we'll see you in the next week. Thank you.